Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien today on Sunday, July 15th, 2022. Oh, it's Bastille Day. Oh, what a disastrous day in human history, huh? It caused a lot of problems that you're dealing with today. And for your Americans, today's thing is on the cause that you have. Your law systems. And today's comment is on attorneys. Okay. Back in the 1980s, attorneys were not allowed to advertise except on your yellow pages. Yeah. Then Congress opened the door on that so they could advertise like everybody. You had just closed the door about a decade earlier on the tobacco industry. They couldn't advertise anymore on television or anywhere. Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? But you allowed the lawyers to, outside the yellow pages. And the lawyers at that time, it was expensive. Boy, you had to pay a retainer to a lawyer, and if you wanted to do that, and the retainers were usually a high price. So very few people used lawyers, only the people with money. The Joe Blow was closed. You had accidents in the car, you had accidents in the store. Well, you were closed because you couldn't access the law system. But that all changed because a group of lawyers in the lower rung, these are the, not so good lawyers, or as they became known, ambulance chasers. And there was a reason they were known for that, because they used to have police scanners in their cars or in their offices too, and they could scan and see, okay, there's an accident at 13th Avenue and 2nd Street. Yeah, that's a very bad one. Please, dispatch fire, police, and ambulance. Okay, and there went the lawyers. They would sit there, watch the poor victims, whether they were dead or alive, being put into the ambulance. And remember, in the ambulances in those days were like hearse. That's who the ambulance, with this lawyer thing, the ambulance exploded. Ambulance companies exploded all over the place. With the lawyers getting bigger, the ambulance got bigger, and it cost you $200, say $1,000 in the ambulance. Ooh, yeah. Oh, boy, was it expensive, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, and when they got to the hospital, these lawyers, oh, here's my card, ma'am, and I can represent you, and I can get you a lot of money for this guy. And the lawyers, through the years in the 80s, and by the mid-1990s decided, hey, we can't sue the other guy, but the insurance company's got a lot of money, and we can get extra over to the limit of the insurance policies. Oh, yeah, we can go up to the limits of the insurance policies. Hey, so we'll go with, instead of having retainers for customers, we're advertising. We don't have to chase ambulances anymore. We just advertise, if you had an accident, please call us 24/7, 365, and you don't have to pay anything. If you win, then you pay. Yeah, okay. And they branched out not only from car accidents, but from store accidents, and all over the place. It started branching off as the decades came and went. One of those small firms, Morgan & Morgan, yeah, now it's the biggest firm around. And I'm not against Morgan & Morgan. You know, you got to make a buck. But the way you're doing it is deceiving people, Morgan & Morgan. And some people would say, oh, you got a personal gripe against Morgan & Morgan. No, I don't. But I do have a disagreement, and I want to express that to the chief lawyer at Morgan & Morgan, Mr. Morgan himself. I had an accident back in 2009 with my wife where we got hit in the back. It was like what you call a minor fender bender, but it cost me a lot of problems. My wife a lot of problems too, but we didn't use her because she already had other issues before that. I feel sorry for my wife. She got nothing from that, but that accident really changed her life, and it went downhill from there. Other stuff contributed to that the next year, but I'm not going into that. But as for me, I hit my head on the side of the door very hard, and it caused me to have seizures. And I was already, because of the 2008 money mess, my wife lost a lot on her trust, and I lost my job. So I owed a lot of people, okay? And I still do. I never got over that. It took me years because I had lost my job in 2005. Downsizing, they said it was, and I could never find another one because of my age. But that's neither here nor there. But the accident caused me to have seizures, which the hospital in Georgia could never figure out what they were. And I went through a couple of different doctors, and they couldn't figure it out either. But I had open heart surgery in 2016 to replace my heart valve, my aorta heart valve, pardon me. And when I had the operations, my seizures ceased for whatever reason. So since 2016, I never had any. Well, I hired and went through Morgan and Morgan because they said I didn't have to pay, and they did do a good job. I can't, 25,000 was the limit on the issue that I had, and they paid the 25,000. But Mr. Morgan, I do have a problem with your firm because your lawyer that represented me at the time said, "Oh, you owe a lot of money to different people here. And we had to do this and do that, and we didn't get the money that we wanted." He didn't say that in certain terms, but the way you talk, and you can see his comments, they were condescending, and they were, you can tell that he wanted more money on the back end. You got your percentage. I don't know what it was at the time, but it wasn't 33 and a third, which is your usual type percentage that you'd like to get. And a lot of firms do that. You look at all over the country, you see firms, like here in Florida where I'm at, Dan Rulon or something like that is the second biggest one behind Morgan & Morgan. And he does the same thing, and you're advertising the same thing. And you started that with the tobacco industry. Then you went into the car insurance. Now you've gone into store insurances. If you fall in the store, any type of insurance. And then came mesothelioma. You didn't get money from the tobacco. Heck, the money hasn't come out for the tobacco yet. But mesothelioma put out $30 billion to pay. And you have people representing that. Sokoloff firm got big on that part because they only representing mesothelioma. But now they got all kinds of Tom, Dick, and Harry competition, especially Morgan & Morgan. And then came the Social Security disability. Oh, man, a lot of people, they don't make a lot of money on that. I think it's $6,000 is the maximum they can get on that. But that is, But then you got all these other things that have come in. The shootings, the mass shootings with the Luby cafeteria, and then the schools like Columbine and stuff like that. That also contributed to that. And today's biggest one, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. The government is now involved because they set up a fund to pay the people that, But this is the way we are, Americans. Most of these firms get 33 and a third. That's a lot. 33 and a third. So when you see a guy says, "I got $1 million from Morgan & Morgan or Dan Rulon," yeah. $1 million? No. You got 33 and a third left there, so you got about $333,000 of that $1 million that goes to Morgan & Morgan or other companies. Same with mesothelioma. Whatever you account, the family or the person, if he's still alive. And you don't get it all at once either. You have to get little, like maybe 100,000, 50,000 a year or something like that for the next 20 or 30 years that you get that. And other forms, other companies have started to say, "Hey, there's some money here," like J.G. Whiffer. Yeah, you heard that too. It's your money and you need it now. Yeah, okay. So this is affecting, and this is why your capitalism is bad. And I'm not condemning. Some of these people need the money because some of their injuries are true and they need to help. But others are not. But they still get the money because it's part of the law. Unintended consequences of the law. And a lot of people are getting a lot of money. I can barely make my rent payment here, so I have to go through Medicaid to get Medicaid waiver. And I'm just a low below nobody old folk here. But these companies are getting rich off people. Is that good? No, they should be assisting people. And that doesn't mean I don't want them to make money. Yeah. But Morgan and Morgan and Mr. Morgan, you always say you're the biggest because we win a lot. Well, yeah, you do. Because the odds of you winning are better than the odds of the insurance company based on current law. You got the upper hand. In the old days, they had the upper hand because you couldn't advertise and they had your hands, one hand tied behind the back. Now they are the ones that are bleeding left and right, and the people are paying a lot more money there, and it's costing a lot more money for everything because of these suits. The latest one is clamped Lejeune, North Carolina. The government's involved now because they are gotta pay for the problems that they created. And that's not an excuse, it's just that 33 and a third, really? 33 and a third? With all the clients that you have, wouldn't at least 18% do? I don't mind 18%, but 33 and a third, that's a lot of money. And the people are still, you get that, oh yeah, you get 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 a year. Tax-free, of course. They shouldn't pay taxes on that because that's money litigation. And then you get other companies, well, we can go in here. Hey, what do you want? You want your money now? You want to do this? You want a car? You want this? You want that? And they're teasing you like, okay, you want what you cannot afford, but you got this money. Therefore, J.G. Wiffer is here. See what I mean, Americans? This is your favorite alien. Sitting here saying, gosh, where is the common people that said, I understand what they're doing, but it's gotten way out of hand. Good day.